I'm Chronix from the most extreme wrestling, and this is your AEW Dynamite review for December 11th, 2019, live at the Curtis Caldwell Center in Garland, Texas, part of the DFW greater area. I was there live in the risers, row Q, right on the aisleway. A great seat for sure for this show, my very first AEW live. And look, I got this All Elite Wrestling Texas flag style shirt while I was there, and boy, was the line for the merchandise table insane. They had to make so much money from just t-shirt sales. It was absurd. Not even the bathroom line, the beer line, those combined. It was crazy. I stood in line less to get into the building than I did to get a shirt. Craziness. We start off the show with no pyro, no explosion, but an explosion from the crowd as Jon Moxley makes his way down through the risers, but not in my section. I was a little bit sad, I'm not going to lie, because I would have been right there. But he made his way through, right through the fans, and he is taking on Alex Reynolds. And he has John Silver with him ringside, but you could hardly tell that from the camera angles. In no time at all, a paradigm shift as soon as the match starts, essentially. And Jon Moxley, he wins. Of course he does. Then John Silver, well, if you didn't see him on the outside, now you see him on the inside as he goes in and tries to attack Moxley, which does not go well for him. A paradigm shift in his career as well. And as he stays in the ring, Jon Moxley, down comes the Inner Circle, and Chris Jericho says that he was impressed with Jon Moxley. Shoot, he's one of the top guys in the company. He keeps winning matches, and, well, he's seen Moxley throughout his career. He was there previously with him. He was there when Jon Moxley got on the national stage, and Jericho says, well, you kind of needed him then, and you need him now, and you should join the Inner Circle. He's got a t-shirt that he gives him. You know, it's kind of a gift to think about it. Really persuade him. And also mentions that Jericho knows Moxley's wife and he has met his mother. So kind of a subtle thing there. Something that Moxley, he could interpret that as some kind of threat. Like, you know, I know them, something might happen to them if you don't play ball with us. So, it was really good with Jericho. I really notice a lot of things with him when he throws in those subtle bad guy things. And, you know, I gotta give him props for that. He's asking him to join the Inner Circle, but he's gonna give him some time to think about that as we move on. We got a video package about tonight's main event, the Young Bucks versus Santana and Ortiz in a Texas street fight. And they show a lot of clips of the Young Bucks flying off ladders, going through tables, doing a lot of flips and kicking people in the face. And you have Excalibur explain that Santana and Ortiz don't know what they're getting into with the Young Bucks. I really had to sit there and think, are they serious? Santana and Ortiz, these are the guys from the street. These are the guys from a rough neighborhood, you know. They're tough guys. Jericho got these guys because they're such rugged, tough individuals that you don't want to meet on the street. And in a street fight, Santana and Ortiz should be worried about the Young Bucks coming out there in tassels? I understand that Excalibur has called a lot of his matches and, you know, he's a big fan of them and whatnot, and that's really okay for him to say that. But there was no balance. There was no one saying, you know, hey, Santana and Ortiz, they're gonna rip you to shreds because, yeah, they are tough guys. For real. Not just in the ring. And it's a street fight, so in my mind I'm thinking, okay, street fight, you come out in blue jeans and you fight over the arena and you use weapons, but no, we found out later that the actual main event was a tables, ladders, and chairs match, because there was a lot of tables and there was ladders and there was chairs pre-set up. So I don't know in whose book that means it's a street fight, but AEW, I don't know, they do some wacky stuff sometimes that doesn't really fit into the rules or the expectations. So I really don't know what all that was about, but that's what we got. I would have just preferred a little more balance in that video package instead of just a one-sided Excalibur saying, yeah, the Young Bucks are going to completely destroy Santana and Ortiz. Come on, they have no problem facing those guys. So next we have the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny. Butcher and the Blade, they're going to have their in-ring match right here against Cody and QT Marshall. So, I don't really know why Cody Rhodes is having tag matches, and I don't really know why he's in there with QT Marshall. I mean, okay, they're cool with each other, whatever, but why are they having tag matches? And why against the Blade and the Butcher? Why? Why set it up like that? Why? I guess you want to have Cody out there, and that's the only thing they could have him in? But, okay. It's a big rub for the Butcher and the Blade, right? Now the Blade, he's okay. The Butcher, I could tell seeing him live that, he's very green and doesn't, he just, he had some good facial expressions, but it was kind of the stuff that he was doing in between the moves that really needs work. He seemed a little bit stiff, and he was doing like let's grapple kind of movements, and I'm thinking, yeah, you're the Butcher. You need to look a little more menacing, like you're gonna rip somebody apart when you get your hands on them. And he was doing the whole like classic wrestling thing, and I thought, So I like what he's doing, but it needs a lot of work. Is my point. But yeah, they had a pretty decent match. Other than that, when I watched it on television, I went back and watched it. I really couldn't even notice it with the camera angles changing, but seeing it live, you could see a lot more of the holes in there. MJF actually had a video promo during Cody Rhodes' entrance, but you couldn't hear it, so I'm sure he was saying bad things. Even JR was commenting like, oh yeah, with continuing comments from MJF there. And JR seemed to be confused about everything during this match. It was to the point where he didn't know the difference between Butcher and Blade, which I thought, well, I mean, it's on the back of their ring jackets, and come on, dude. I understand that maybe the wrestlers are too scared to come and talk to JR and tell him about their moves or whatever, but I find it hard to believe that JR would be in a situation where he wouldn't know the difference between Butcher and Blade. I mean, seriously? What's going on there? Are they not producing him? Is he not trying? I don't want to crap on JR because he is good, and he is a very good on-air talent, but he makes mistakes that he shouldn't, and he does it often. And if that isn't a problem, I don't know what is, because I know if I was producing it or I was in charge of anything over there, I would be complaining about that, especially if I'm in a match and he doesn't know who I am. I'm either going to go to JR and tell him who I am so he remembers, or I'm going to complain about people not telling him that, or I don't know, I might even send him an angry tweet and be like, hey JR, don't you know who I am? Seriously, something has to change. JR is a legend, I get it, but you can't just let that continue. That has to change. That definitely has to change. No. But the Blade, he pinned QT with a move that not even Excalibur had a name for. Cody's butthurt on the outside because, he didn't come away with his hand raised. So, since he's sitting on the floor pouting, Darby Allin comes down all tough looking and lends a hand to Cody, basically letting him know, like, hey, you lost, but some people still care about you. So, there's Darby. He's one of your friends now, but somebody who is not your friends, or at least not anymore, is the man who betrayed you and hit you right straight in your family, Cody Rhodes Jules. You can't even say your last name because WWE will sue you, I suppose, but they hit you right in those Rhodes Jules. MJF and Wardlow, they're coming down to the ring, and MJF brings in the cord puller and tells him to kiss the ring, which the cord puller does. So I don't know why he did that, but he did. And then he got the crossroads done to him. A double crossroads, if you will, I think is what the commentator said. So that was funny. I enjoyed that. He wants Cody Rhodes to suffer. And it seems pretty obvious that he wants him to suffer by his actions. So I like the fact that what he says matches what he does and what he continues to say that he will do. That's just good character stuff. He makes fun of Cody Rhodes' lisp and his buck teeth, which I didn't know he had either. So maybe he does and I just didn't notice, or maybe he's just being a jerk. And that's a very real possibility that MJF was just being a jerk. But he will fight Cody Rhodes, but only with one stipulation, but he's not going to tell us Hicks in Texas. He's going to let us know in Jacksonville next week. So, something to look forward to there. I have noticed a pattern with AEW. Instead of just coming out and spilling the beans or giving us what we want, they say, we're going to do this next week, whatever, we're going to tell you, we're going to have the match, we're going to have this explanation. Jericho did the same thing about his party, wanting to do it in Chicago. So, that's good. I think that's a way for people to have like, oh yeah, there's this, and there's this, and there's this that I want to see next week. Because not everybody's going to care about what's happening in the main event. Sometimes people care about other things. And to say next week, in the future, we're going to do this and we're going to do that with this guy and that guy, I think it is a very good way to keep people emotionally invested. We have a Dark Order video in the hotel, playing in the hotel room while Alex watches on his bed, and it's like the Dark Order is communicating through the television. So it almost looks like Alex is going crazy, but I guess the Dark Order has magical powers, which makes sense because, you know, they're a dark group. They wear all black, so of course they have magical powers. They're in professional wrestling. So that's continuing. They're not really sure where that's going to lead. They want him as a loser because he keeps losing matches with the Beaver Boys, which is a terrible name. Maybe he should just change his name and not join the Dark Order. That'd probably do just as well. So we got Big Swole. She's fully signed with AEW here, taking on Emi Sakura. I don't know why I said it like that, but you got Excalibur on commentary, and he confuses Freddy Cougar and Freddie Mercury because he's talking about the long nails that Emi Sakura was scraping down the back of Big Swole, and I thought, how do you confuse those things? I guess because they both are Freddy. Maybe there's not a lot of Freddys. I don't know. I'm pretty sure, though, if I pulled out my phone and I looked up how many Freddys there are just in the United States, it would be a lot of people. Most certainly more people than watch AEW every week. That's all I'm saying. But they had a pretty good match. I like Big Swole a lot. I've been following her through her independent wrestling, you know, seeing where she's going, because I always thought that girl's going to make it one day. And hey, she signed with AEW, so that's freaking awesome. Big Swole over there. The mic stand gets brought into the ring, and Emi Sakura, she just holds it in between herself and Big Swole as she stretches her out and acts like she's singing into it. But I don't think the referee really understood it. And I didn't understand it, and I don't think the commentators understood it either. And I certainly didn't understand it in the crowd, because I thought she was going to use it to help stretch her out, but she wasn't. She just stuck it in there to act like she was singing. So everybody in the entire arena was confused. So the referee, you know, instead of just laying back a little bit, he was all like, you can't have that, which, normally you would say that because you can't have that. You can't have illegal weapons. You can't bring it in the ring. But apparently they didn't talk about all that and really lay that out where it was clear what was happening. So we were all confused. Maybe you weren't confused, but I was. So then Big Swole gets the microphone and does a little dancing and singing into the microphone. And then the referee gets thrown it, and then it gets out of the picture or whatever. But the fans, there was a point where they kind of died down because Emi Sakura, she did this really terrible neck breaker, I think it was, through the ropes, and I don't know if it was just the camera angle, but it just looked like crap, and the fans were like, "Pew!" But Emi, she is a professional, and she's able to get the crowd back on their feet by just clapping, essentially. Just like, hey, everybody's quiet, let's go! So, it's good seeing a pro in action, but Swole, she ends up beating Emi here and becomes the third ranked woman in AEW. Shoot, that didn't take long. You literally signed last week, and now you're the third ranked female wrestler in the whole company. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of competition there, is all I'm saying. Pac has a video package backstage where he says he wants a rematch, so good for you. He looked pretty serious about it too. Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford and Shawn Spears taking on Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. Now, as Shawn Spears came out, he was supposed to have Tully Blanchard. He was even like, he's not behind me, is he? He wasn't there. We didn't know where he was. We found out later in the match that Joey Janela had kidnapped him and roped him up. So, okay. I always assumed Shawn Spears made his entrance. He was with Tully Blanchard. They were talking because they were on the same level. And then he walks out. And, he would be within earshot of Tully Blanchard. So maybe that's why he looked back. Maybe he heard something. Like a, help! Or something like that. I just find it hard to believe that somebody was able to grab him, sit him in a chair, and tie him up that quickly without him being able to see it happen. But, I don't know. I hadn't been back there. So, maybe there's some kind of weird acoustical anomalies that you can't hear very well. Anyways, this match continues. It's a pretty good little contest here. Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, they were out there shining, and I guess that's what they're there to do. But Hangman Page, he comes away as the winner here in Texas. I wish he would wear a cowboy hat because, you're in Texas and you're a cowboy. You just gotta wear a cowboy hat. I don't know. It just seems strange for somebody to be a cowboy and not wear a cowboy hat. Even James Storm learned this. I don't know. Whatever, man. Brandy's in a hotel room, and she's taking off clothes. But then, yes, we are supposed to see this video. She's saying that her family is almost complete. I guess she's building a family now? I don't know. But not like having a baby. She's got the new girl that has a head shaved, which she didn't tell us her name. Why, I don't know. Does she not have a name? She's got a little shaved buzz cut. She's got a buzz cut going on. And looked like Dustin Rhodes with his back turned, and Brandy is rubbing his head. It's weird and it's creepy, but does all of this match up and make sense to everybody else? Because it doesn't to me. Jericho comes out again to do he's doing commentary this time, and he replaces Excalibur and Tony Schiavone. Maybe because Tony Schiavone, what did he do? Like a James Brown impression earlier in the night, and then he was making fun of Jericho later. He was a little bit hyper, right? Somebody gave him too many Diet Pepsis or something. I don't know. This man was having fun, so that was cool to see. Sammy Guevara, he replaces Excalibur and Tony Schiavone. Yeah, okay, I got that right. Why am I correcting myself? Sammy Guevara versus Luchasaurus with Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt. And of course, Chris Jericho is going to prop up his boy, the sex god, Sammy Guevara. Yes, but this is where Sammy Guevara messed up. Well, first of all, before I get into this, before the match, off air, well, maybe it was on screen and screen, I don't know, but Sammy Guevara took a fan's phone and stomped on it, dropped it, stomped on it, and then threw it back at the fans, and it did not even land in their hands. So, dang, freaking no regard. Nobody in the inner circle has any regard for people's cell phones except for their own. But a good showing here by Sammy Guevara and Luchasaurus. I like this match. I like seeing these guys because these are two dudes that I feel will be big deals here in AEW. I think they already are. But Sammy Guevara is going to become a legitimate main eventer. And it kind of looks like Luchasaurus might too. Not just because he has very impressive muscles for a dinosaur, but he's got a lot of spunk and a lot of personality. Even though I do think being a wrestling dinosaur is kind of weird. His gear is awesome. His mask is awesome. I think he just needs more work in like his character and stuff, because I'm like, okay, you're a doctor, or you have like a doctorate or a master's or something. He's very well educated, whatever it is. But you're also a dinosaur who's very articulate. You're a very articulate dinosaur. I don't know. Something seems like it needs to be smoothed out a little bit there. It seems a little odd, but I really do like him. Luchasaurus, he's looking good. Not just his muscles, but Sammy Guevara does too many flips. He ends up getting caught in a choke slam. That gets countered. Sammy Guevara gets his head kicked in. And then Luchasaurus hits his finisher, and then boom, he wins. Luchasaurus beats Sammy Guevara. Jericho and Hager, they run in, and Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt, they're running around the ring, and Jungle Boy rolls him up, Chris Jericho. And Marco Stunt runs in and hits the 1, 2, 3 unofficial win right there for Jungle Boy. So, yeah. Jungle Boy is going to take on Chris Jericho next week. The last championship title, World Heavyweight AEW Championship match for the year. So good luck to you, Jungle Boy. I just feel that roll-up you got there, I don't think we're going to be seeing the same thing next week, but I can't wait to see how you do, because I know the guy is relatively new going up against a huge legend like this, so this is going to be, the pressure's going to be up. You're going to be in the hot seat, Jungle Boy, when you're taking on Chris Jericho. That's what I'm saying. This young man's taking on a legend. You better not crap the bed. So now we go into the main event. It is a Texas Street Fight, which is actually a Texas TLC match. But, I mean, what do I know? So, it's the Young Bucks taking on Santana and Ortiz. Santana and Ortiz, they jump the Young Bucks right out the gate. And Brandon Cutler, people try to help, but get put through a table. Brandon Cutler, see you later. People are diving all over the place. They're setting up a table up on the stage. There's tables, ladders, and chairs. Oh my, it's in the ring. It's on the stage. They're fighting everywhere. Oh my gosh. But all in the arena and stage area. They're swinging chairs, they're swinging everything. Matt Jackson even at one point puts on a Cowboys helmet, which I thought people might boo. Even in Garland, which is it's about 30 minutes away maybe from Arlington, definitely Cowboy area. But I thought people would still boo because I thought people hated the Cowboys that much, but apparently not. But don't try that anywhere else in America. I don't even watch football, but I can guarantee you people would boo. Yes, they would. Absolutely. So that was a funny little spot there. It was a pretty entertaining match. SCU is on the outside. They are the tag team champions, and SCU was watching intently. They do a Indie Taker, which is a Meltzer driver, which I don't know if I like. I think I might like Indie Taker better. There's about 500 different names for that move. I wish there were no names for that move, because I just think that move is just overkill. I mean, you're dropping somebody on their head with somebody spiking them on the stage, but yet you can get up and continue? How does that make sense? I don't know. I guess because people really love the Young Bucks, they get a pass. We can throw logic out the window, you know. We can just throw it right out. If you're popular, logic no longer matters, apparently. But, you know, hey. You know, they're a big part of AEW, and AEW wouldn't exist without them, so I guess I should just sit down, which I'm already doing, and just shut the hell up. Which I'm not. So they continue the match, but the Young Bucks, they come away winning this thing, so I guess Excalibur was right. Santana and Ortiz did not know what they were walking into. So the Young Bucks, with their tassels and their headbands covering up their long hair and receding hairlines, they really are the toughest SOBs in AEW. But SCU jumps in the ring and they have a stare down because next week, all three of these tag teams are going to be in the ring together. SCU, Santana Ortiz, the Young Bucks, all three of them will be in the main event. And yes, I feel like I've already seen these guys all face each other a couple times before, but we're going to see it again. Hopefully we'll start seeing more tag teams on the rise like Butcher and the Blade. I hope that they keep elevating up. And we have more real tag team matches instead of just having QT and Cody. It just seemed a little random. But this was a pretty good show. There was one dark match before the show, and then there was 3 after. Jeez, that is a lot of matches to have after your main event with all the tables, the ladders, and chairs. I'm sorry, a street fight. It was a street fight. Excuse me. Oh, just burped a little, but that's okay. Got a little bit excited. I really did enjoy that. My first AEW experience. It was a lot of fun. I will be at the first of the year. I will be at AEW again in the front row. I'll talk about that more as the weeks go on. But that was a good show. I was thoroughly entertained, and I'm ready for the next one. I'm ready to see where this goes. And definitely, if AEW's coming to your town, there's a seat available for you. And you should definitely check it out. But until next time, I'm going to catch you guys next time.